That's what it is. That's what it is. You got 2 elections.
All right. It is 6 p.m.
Eastern time.
Eastern time. Eastern Standard, no, this is daylight standard.
I wish they'd throw that down.
Wait, him in Japan.
Yeah,
I like my daylight. I don't see the saving.
Yeah.
Except for what it is. We have.
Chad, do you mind getting us the roll call?
James. Julie Gwynn.
Here.
Brad Johnson.
Here.
Danny Deal. Heather Ward.
Here.
Todd Smith. Aaron Frazier. Thomas Prophet.
Here.
Dr. Eckhoff.
Present. As you look over the agenda, I don't think there are any additions or there on the tab. So it will, unless there is a question or alteration that you want to make, I just need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Deal, second by Commissioner Gordon. No, I didn't. So everybody on the list will obviously be part of the public to comment. And since this is just a hearing, we won't stand to be as formal as we normally are. So let's just move in to the hearing 5A. Just let me set some ground rules for everybody. I'm going to give you 10 minutes. Went out, Carolyn's office, Will Thomas, and at time to follow questions too. So, do that. We'll start with EMA in the corner.
Thank you all. We'll do the coroner's budget first and get it. So our coroner's budget is up just a little bit. We did hire, a part-time coroner last year, and we're getting a lot of work from that part-time guy. Benny's been sick a little bit, and we have been having to get some use out of our part-time coroner. So whenever we use our part-time coroner, he does use his own vehicle, so we have to pay him mileage. So we are increasing the mileage a little bit this year because he does use his own vehicle. And Benny has a county vehicle with county fuel, but we have to use a POV for our part-time coroner. So we're raising the fuel just a little bit. We do have to raise our body bag. Our body bag costs have went up just a little bit too. So the body bags are $18 a piece. So we average around, I talked to Benny about our average, and it's about 200 to 240. That's every year. That's what he averages using. So we can't give a specific number, but it's 200 to 240. It may be 215 one year, maybe 220, maybe 205 one year. So I just give a rough estimate of that for the body bags. The only big item for our coroner is I did add a line 450 this year because he didn't have a 450. And he did tell me a couple of weeks ago that he is going to have new tires for his county vehicle. And I went to Hayworth because that's who we deal with all the time because there's such good service out of them. They always rotate our tires if we have a flat or something, or they fix it for free. So we've always dealt with Hayworth. Right now, those tires are $800. I put in here $900 because maybe in April or July or whenever they could go up. There's a possibility they could go up. So I just put $900 for tires, and that's our biggest expense for the coroner. So by adding that line 450. Is there any questions about the coroner?
Questions for Director
Mr. Chair. Your vehicles and his vehicles both are blue lighted, right?
Ours are red and white for emergency. His is,
I mean, you've got.
yeah, his are blue lights, yes.
If I'm not mistaken, through the state now, we are liable accidents, of course, but from tires, that changes the requirements of the type of tires that go on, not just any passenger tire, whether you know it or not. It's just like on police cruisers. There's specifics, product qualifications that to meet before we go on the car. You aware of it?
I wasn't for his vehicle because he didn't mention that. He just told me to check it. Hey,
I mean, for any vehicle runs under emergency.
oh yeah, I knew police cars was, yes.
Okay, because that, for $800, that's, I'm thinking that's a little low.
Yeah.
Either one, because those tires are expensive.
For the police pursuit, so you're saying that you want police pursuit on his
I
vehicle?
want to, I'm saying the requirements, the regulations of state transportation and all requires that, thing that runs under emergency lights, the tires has to meet certain specifications. They're
Okay.
not.
I'll ask Hayworth about that.
Supposed to be speed rated.
Yeah, because Benny didn't mention that, but I'll ask him. So they want to move that up to 1,200. I mean,
I'm sure it'll be more, don't you, Commissioner? I'm sure the price will
I
go.
would think so. I hadn't been in that industry.
well, I'm requesting to move that to 1,200 instead of 900. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any more questions?
Any others? Hearing none. We'll do EMA.
Okay. So our EMA budget, again, we just added a little bit for our cell phones, the major stuff, electricity, fuel, up just a little bit. We didn't, I tried to cut as much as I could because this year, again, I did put the vehicle in there, just in case we are able to get that. We asked for it last year, but we couldn't get it last year. It was 47.5 I was asking for last year. That same vehicle I did call Wilson Automotive. It is 50,000 exactly now with a 6-month wait. And that was for a Tahoe. But we did go down to Carabel, Chrysler in Greenville and talk to those people in person about, they have the state bid in the Dodge Durango and the Dodge trucks. So we did go down there and talk to them in person and get a quote from them. Shannon's gonna hand that out. It'll just show what the quote is on 2 brand new vehicles. We can get 2 brand new 24 vehicles for $82,740. That's 2 brand new ones. So we just wanna throw that out. I know we couldn't get it last year and I was fine with that, but our vehicles now, both of our vehicles are 12 years old. They're not high mileage, but they're 12 years old. And Shannon was in Alabama a couple months ago and did break down on the way back from Alabama from the FEMA training center and had to wait 2.5 hours on the interstate for a service truck. So we're having just a few issues and we just want to mention that. But we did get the quotes there and that's just a little bit about some information about the vehicles. So we want to throw that out. But that's our biggest expense that we're requesting this year. 89,000 is what we requested. But if we are able to get those, it may be a little cheaper, but we still have to put our lights and our push bar, running boards and stuff like that on our emergency equipment. So,
The breakdown on the very front of your page, so that just highlighting some of the things that we do with our vehicle. Information to note, we do receive that money, which covers salary, but that does not cover for equipment usage that comes in from FEMA and also from the city of Elizabeth. But some of the other reasons, just list some of the reasons. Vehicles, according to talking to the dealerships, I've talked to every dealership we've had information from. Those dealerships have told us that there is going to be increases as well as fluctuations in the availability of vehicles in the upcoming years because the auto brokers are saying with the special packages, just for instance, the Ford Explorers that the police and sheriff's office is using, they're saying that they're getting even more backward. Now they are pushing for the 26-year vehicles now. So they're looking at more increases. Obviously going to newer vehicles, cheaper repair costs, as well as having warranties, fuel efficiency, traveling, towing capacity. We're starting to get into towing our trailer around a little bit more. Fewer mechanical issues. We was made aware that most of our Tahoes in the year make and model that we have start having transmission issues right around 120,000 miles for long distances. Also, we're, according to the quote that you have there from the Greenville facility was made for a truck. That truck was asked for to help us with moving equipment and donations that we're receiving on a, seems to be almost monthly, weekly basis, as well as more trips back and forth to make our presentations and our requirements for TEMA and the state.
And this year, we already know we're going to have to go 5 times to Nashville throughout this year. And if we are able to get a vehicle, we would like to donate our old one to the animal shelter to haul the trustees in because I talked to Shannon. She said that she's needing a vehicle to haul the trustees in. So it's up to you all, but we would like to maybe donate that to the animal shelter or another agency that could use our old vehicle.
Are your lot bars and stuff still good where you can transfer them over onto the new stuff?
Yeah, we talked about that. We would, if we needed to, we would use all that stuff again. Yeah, we can do that. And if we give it to another agency, of course, we would take all that off too.
And we can transfer some of our items. There will be some items we will have to purchase new because these are different makes and models, so we'll have to purchase consoles for the vehicle. But most of our lights, sirens, radios, all those are going to be able to be reused.
Questions?
Just one thing, your maintenance log on your current vehicles, if you got a copy of that, or,
I can get you one. Yeah, I've got everything in our budget book.
so you're making how many trips for training a year?
This year, we know, he's in the EMA Academy, which is like the police academy, but he has to go to Nashville for that. So that's 5 trips to Nashville.
So just
And we have to go 4 times a year to Knoxville for our required training. That's how we get our $45,000 every year to help fund our office, is by attending these 4 required meetings in Knoxville through TEMA.
So both of you are making 4 trips to Knoxville?
No, me and him, we will each have to make 1 trip that we know of to Murfreesboro. He will have to go 5 times by himself to Nashville.
Question, Billy,
Yes.
why not 2 Ram pickups rather than a Pursuit, Durango, and a pickup? Both of them got 2 row seats. Since you got more storage on the pickup, you wouldn't on your Durango.
I'll answer that. And if we do get the truck, yeah, you're right about the storage. We talked about the drawer pull out. We would definitely do that. But we could do 2 trucks. The reason that I just wanted an SUV is because sometimes when the director of TEMA comes up, I wanted a nice vehicle to transport him in. And he, I just don't want to take him in a big truck, but we take anything, but
Then we should charge him then, since we're going to cater to him.
when I have to drive him around, and sometimes I do when he comes up, I do, that's my preference. I do want to have a nice vehicle to transport him.
That's the difference of $4,000.
Yeah. And like I said, that's the reason that we just chose the Durango, to have an SUV to transport people in. I mean, it was,
Status quo.
Others?
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Okay, next up, Ms. Shannon, Animal Shelter.
evening, everyone. So first of all, I want to thank you all for your support for the animal shelter. And I want to thank Miss Carolyn for always answering the questions, her and Chad when I have questions about our budget. Not only through the budget season, but throughout the year when we are doing our yearly reviews. The good news is for the animal shelter's budget, it has an increase of $12,000 for the next fiscal year. Those increases are due to insurance, propane, water and sewer costs, communications, and the ankle monitors from the Carter County Sheriff's Department. It was included in our $12,000 cost.
So, Carolyn, the 3,600 still, is that out of that number?
Since that budget hadn't been approved fully, I haven't made any changes to either, well, I don't have landfills yet, but I won't make those changes until we make sure all that's approved. And if it is, then we can go in and reduce it, or we can reallocate that money to something else that they need if it comes in later in the process.
Yeah, we discussed that, but I wanted to know that 3,600 we talked about is not reflected on that.
Not at this point.
Don't forget, when the sheriff was here, Captain Range also spoke up that night, that they'll have enough to pay for two departments, either animal shelter and landfill, or wherever we decide to put those, and we think the sheriff, so that could come off of this budget.
Yeah, that was my point.
Yeah, I just didn't reduce her budget for that until
That's
we
fine.
got everything in place. It's easier to take it out later than it is to put it back, so that's why I just left it.
Any questions?
And I guess this goes into, I don't know that you'll be able to answer this, Shannon, but I would assume that that will be internalized to each department.
It's all in Ron's budget at this point.
It will pay for all departments.
Yes.
Are included.
So this $2,400 may come off of here.
Because if if they approve the new purchase, we don't have a phone bill. It includes the phone bill for the first 3 years. So I don't know what was your increase for?
Well,
She's got
hers is
2,400.
something- Hers is for something else too, because you all have other
Yes.
communication needs
Oh,
other than
yes.
the phones. But everybody's phone bills are still in their budgets until we determine for sure which system we're gonna use. If there's one system that's available, that they would still have a phone bill, maybe a reduced amount, but since we don't know, kind of the same preface as I didn't take any of that out, so we may see some cost savings to come back in some of these budgets at a later time, once we have more information on what we're gonna do with the phone system. But the majority of the cost and all that is in the buildings budget that Ron presented 2 weeks ago, a week ago, whenever it was. Sorry.
Although the drugs and medical supplies is up $1,500, that's a lot lower than I thought it would.
She does a good job of trying to find cost savings anywhere she can find them. This budget is tight.
Are you full up right now? I'm sorry.
Are you full up right now?
We stay at capacity. Most of the time we think. It's becoming kitten season now. It seems like it's been puppy season forever, but kitten season is now upon us.
You'll get you a couple, Julie. Lighten the burden.
Any other questions for Director?
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
We'll hear from UT Extension next. I saw you earlier.
Kind of. Veterinary contract expenses. Supported at
It's not like that.
All ready? Okay, Rachel, floor is yours.
All right, so we had a couple changes in our budget to propose for this upcoming year. And also want to thank you all very much for your support and for fully funding. We have a 25-hour part-time program assistant that is fully county funded. So that fully comes from the county, and we really appreciate that. You will see an increase in there in our benefits as well as our salaries. So where that is coming from and what we're requesting. Some of that is some funds to bring us all up to the 37% match that the county funds, because some of the positions were below that. So those funds are to bring that up to match that 37%. And that gets off from year to year with different salaries and raises and things. And then we are also asking for some additional hours to make our part-time program assistant eligible for insurance. Our 4-H program assistant at 25 hours, she easily fills that up each week, and she works incredibly hard and is such a great complement to our current 4-H program. Being able to add those hours and that health insurance benefit would also help to increase the stability of the 4-H program as well, because as you all are aware, it's $15 an hour for 25 hours a week, and that's pretty tough for somebody to live on unless they've got extenuating circumstances like their spouse maybe that can be on their insurance. So there has been some turnover in that position in the past, and so this would provide a little more stability with that, with an increase in hours, and also being able to add that additional benefit of the health insurance in there too. We also cushioned for a small raise, but myself and the rest of our employees said that we would be happy to give that up if it gave us any more of an opportunity to get some more hours for our program assistant. Our 4-H program is really successful, and we're hoping to continue to grow that in the county, and those additional hours and those benefits would enable us to reach more children in Carter County and also be able to offer some different programming as well.
Questions?
Culture, and I thought this was a state organization, from a state agency.
So we're,
But if it is, then the question that I have behind that, Mr. Chair, is we don't hire employees for them. So we're not responsible for their benefits and their wages. So if you go from a part-time to full-time, we don't have no dog in that fight. It's a state agency. Do we?
It's a good question.
Let me ask the wise. But that's,
can I
Yes,
weigh
go
in?
ahead.
Okay, so UT Extension is a really interesting entity in that we are both county and state funded. So 37% of our salaries and benefits are funded through the county. And so that's an agreement across the state and different counties. There may be different percentage funding levels depending on what that particular government has agreed to do, but local governments help to support that office as well. So they provide the office space, and they also provide whatever percentage of funding is agreed upon in those counties. So that part-time program assistant position is fully funded through the county. So it's through the county budget. It's not through UT's budget. If there was a way to do that, I would certainly increase it through there, but that's just unfortunately not an option. And I know in neighboring counties, they have some program assistants that are fully county funded, and so the county did pick up their insurance when they were able to do that. So
How many total employees do you have, including part-time?
So we have 3 full-time agents, myself, our agriculture and natural resources agent, and our 4-H agent. So we have 3 agents. We have a full-time TNCEP program assistant, which she is federally funded from grant. And then we have our administrative assistant and our part-time program assistant. Welcome. Thank you.
Other questions?
On the off side, I guess, I've had the fortunate ability to be on the ag committee and have seen a lot of what they do over this past year. They're drawing kids in out of schools. They're teaching them about soil, about gardening, about canning, and not just the kids in school, but she's opening up programs for adults, young adults that want to learn how to grow and can their own food and be self-sufficient and eat healthier. So it's really pretty impressive what they do. If you go over and ever sit down with them and see what they do, it's pretty impressive, especially for the kids. I love seeing the fact that the kids are getting involved in this.
So Rachel, how has the program grown since you've been here?
So we had kind of a break in the programming, when Emily Barton left and went to Hawkins County, and then we hired Roger. So he's been able to get in school clubs in all of the county elementary schools, and then also into some of the city schools as well. Our project groups are doing really well. So like our wildlife judging and forestry, public speaking went extremely well this year. And that's a really great thing for all kids to get involved in. Whereas like wildlife judging might be a little more of a kind of niche thing that not everyone would be interested in. Public speaking is a skill that's super beneficial to everybody. And we've also started up some livestock related groups that we've had in the past. So our program assistant has some background in that. And so if we're show coming up and being able to pull some kids into that area, and also starting an archery program, sending some youth along with them as well. And I would be happy to pull program numbers if anybody would like to see those. I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Others? If there are none, thank you, Rachel.
Thank you all for your consideration. I know funds are over here. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, up next, Isaiah House.
Hi. My name is Mariah Seibert, and I'm the location leader for the Carter Johnson Unicoi Isaiah 117 house. And please bear with me because I'm used to talking about the program and less about numbers, so it's a little bit out of my comfort zone, but it's for the children. As you all know, each of our houses is individually funded. So although we have a Washington County house, a Sullivan County, and Greene County here locally, their budgets are completely independent of ours. So about 95% of our budget is sustained by individual or community donors. We do not accept any state or federal grants, although we do occasionally receive community grants. Our budget for 2024 is increasing to $175,000. We have added a part-time position, and then just as everything else, costs of living has increased. So it's a lot more expensive to buy those groceries to feed those children. In 2023, DCS reported that there was about 1,400 kids in custody in the Northeast region. We served over 150 of those in our house alone. Some of those children are with us for a few hours, which is ideal truly for the situation. But then we had children stay with us for up to 104 days was our longest guest. So we estimate that it costs around $300 to $400 to meet each child's needs. But of course, that can give or take a little bit considering age and abilities and so on. Also, as you all know, that our mission is threefold. So first and foremost, we want to reduce trauma for the children who are entering foster care. We also want to lighten the load for child welfare services and to ease the transition for foster and kinship placements. So one of the ways that we do that is we try to meet the needs for those, especially kinship placements, what they would need to be approved by DCS to take in these children. So for example, about a week before Christmas, we got a call from grandparents, and they were told at 9 a.m. that morning, you've got to come to court. And by the end of the day, they had custody of their 2 young grandchildren. Being a week before Christmas and they were semi-retired, they did not have on hand the funds to go buy 2 twin-size beds and mattresses and bedding and the extra smoke alarms and fire extinguishers that DCS requires. So we were able to step in and provide them those items that they needed to be able to take in their grandchildren and prevent them to going to a foster home and instead getting to be with kinship. We also this year were able to serve 11 children at Christmas time who entered into foster care just in Carter, Johnson, and Unicoi counties between Thanksgiving Day and Christmas Day. And because of the generosity of the community, we were able to gift each of those 12 gifts. So over 120 Christmas gifts went out this year. So it's the little things that count. Also, if you all will see that last year in our budget, in our house expenses, for the total, for the year total, we spent $13,550. We had some leaks in our roof and had to completely replace our roof, and then also some drywall in some of our closets in the bedrooms. So we have already spent over $15,000 in our house expense this year to do those repairs. But we are so grateful that you all would have us come and be here with you this evening.
Questions from the Now, right on your program salaries, how many people does that include?
So I am the only full-time staff member, and then we have 2 part-time staff members.
And that's the total spend on this budget for salaries, is those 3 positions.
So last year at the year end, last year was a little odd where we had some months where we're paying for 2 part-time people, and then some months we didn't. But starting January 1st, that is when our budget increased to cover all those positions.
So on the 118 total, that's three positions, right?
I'm not sure if that's the most up-to-date number now, but I can get you the most up-to-date January and February numbers.
This is what we have budgeted for 24, 25, so that.
Oh, then yes, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong one. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay.
Like I said, I'm not usually talking about
That's okay.
numbers.
Thank you.
Can you give me a little bit of detail on the license plate that has been initiated by Isaiah House and what those contributions are looking like once you receive?
Yes,
What's allotted from that? What's the amount you receive from after the purchase? How's that?
yes.
Does that go
We
towards your
don't,
contributions?
we don't receive any money from the license.
Okay.
So that goes into our general fund, which helps provide the support for our accountants who do our taxes and our leadership positions, also training and travel expenses, and construction, consulting, all of that. So that goes into a completely separate fund that we do not have access to.
So you don't have an account of that so we can look at it?
No.
How do we get that?
That would be through our resource center. That's not a part of our budgets.
Thank you. So what about the grant that you guys got? How much was that grant?
From Speedway,
What was that grant? What was that grant? The grant we were just looking at.
That was a, I don't think they got that.
Thank
That was a food security grant.
Looks like
They did
items-
Okay, all right.
Farms and like.
Golf tournament, lemonade stand, selling the t-shirts.
And then I know that Hardee's had a fundraiser recently for what, like a month?
yes. So for the entire month of February, they did a roundup challenge where their customers could choose to opt in to round up to the next nearest dollar, and that difference in change would go to us. That was all of the Hardee's in the whole Tri-Cities area. And so that was split between 6 Isaiah houses.
Were you one of them?
Yes, so we received a little less than $6,000 from that, which is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And we have a few more
That should be.
fundraisers we're trying to squeeze in this year to help as well.
Other questions?
2 or 3, Mr. Chair. First one on the front sheet identifies it as the Isaiah 117 House of Carter, Johnson, and Unicorn. Are the other counties being requests for funds the same as us, or are we?
They have not at this time, but we are trying to, so when we first opened, we were more Carter centric. And so we are trying to foster those relationships and work with those communities more as well.
Do you take in a lot of kids from those other counties, from Johnson and Unicoi?
It is a majority Carter.
Can you give us a breakdown? You don't have to do it tonight, about how many from Carter, how many from Johnson, and how many from Unicoi?
Sure, absolutely. Let me try to find those numbers for you.
And reason being too, that I'd like to emphasize, Mr. Chair, that when the question arises about the license plate, if that goes to, I'm going to say for identification, the corporate office, and it doesn't make sure, now we've got 3 counties involved, which would be 50, 70, close to 90,000 in Populous.
Population.
And the county court clerk has reported it, that is one of the higher selling ones. And if you, as a satellite, which evidently you are, you're not the corporate office, then you're having to struggle for your owning, receive basically nothing from the main office. Is that right?
Yes, yes. I mean, we receive support and they cover the cost of, all of the software we use and, like I said, those consulting fees and conference, training and that.
Well, because you look, the very first thing, the income, you have to subtitle contributions and monthly contributions. That is all generated by the local here,
Yes,
or is the corporate or the main daddy rabbit down wherever it is?
the main office, the corporate office, it's also here in Elizabethton.
It's also here, Elizabeth.
Yes.
Well, they don't tell me the amount. What are they contributing to this?
Oh, what are they contributing? I'm sorry, I thought you were location. I apologize. They are, let me ask our director of finance how to break that down. I don't want to misspeak on
Understand.
that.
Next is how many grants have we applied for locally for this? Because I know the wave of the name identification of Isaiah 117 is well spoke of throughout the state and then through the region and all. So that tells me somebody surely is on watch to file for grants. And if they are, how many have they received? Because I know they received 1 in the state. And it was at the same time it was announced that you were going to build a training center up here on the State Line Road. It's in the same week.
Yes. I'm not sure which house received that grant. As far as our house with our budget, we've applied for one grant through the Women's Lutheran League to add some waterproof flooring to our basement, which is also where we have storage. And then hopefully again, we'll be able to be a part of the Speedway Children's Charities. But so far this year, those are the only grants we've applied for.
I do have one more question. The governor did an appropriation for the Isaiah House in his budget. Can you get me a breakdown of how much each location received for that appropriation? Because it was a large amount.
So the groundbreaking to the right of the Isaiah House up off State Line Road, that's for the training center.
Yes, which is completely separate entity from us as far as budgets and.
Yep.
Other questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all so much.
Okay, next up, roads and bridges.
Most of you know me, I'm Serena Miller, I'm the director at Loaves and Fishes. We're kind of doing the same thing, but doing a little more of it. I don't know if you guys were aware of the statistics for last year, but we did 38,700 meals last year. Those were free meals at no cost to the people who received them. We gave out 7,112 food boxes with about 30 to 40 pounds of dry goods and usually some kind of meat or dairy product in them as well. We served 28,000 people in Carter County last year. We see new people each year, each day actually. Each day we see somebody new. We have people who drop off, people come back. So we're stay pretty steady. But I guess the reason I'm here is because I'm asking for money again, and y'all have been so gracious to do that for us. I did ask for a small increase. I don't know if many of you have been by, but we are trying to expand. We are closing in our pavilion because we have freezers and refrigerators that are outside, and because we've run out of space, and those are being broken into and stolen food out of them, even with security systems and cameras. So people don't care. And so we need to get that finished. Just one extra expense that we've had already this year. You guys are aware of the electricity costs. We had an increase of $500 from one month to the next. So having our light bill be $1,900 in January. That was not something we were expecting. So, and it has not gone down much more since. So these costs are just, adding up on us. Our supplies, food, as you all know, is increasing every day. It looks like, because I'm at the store just about every day. You can look at probably my salary. I haven't asked for an increase in 3 years, so that's not where the money's going, because I try to keep our budget minimal. We have a lot more expense when we started showers back last year, so we offer showers on Thursday nights. We have up to 15 people on Thursday nights taking showers, using our facilities, we provide all the supplies they need, razors, soap, shampoo, whatever they need. Then the cost of washing and drying all those towels and things that some people need their clothes washed, and we'll wash them while they're in the shower and get them all ready for them. We still are doing the hygiene. That's become even more popular. We do, if they ask for hygiene, they get a bag with some things in it to try to get them through. Toilet paper, toothpaste, toothbrushes, all the things that, we try to cater to the men and women so that they, are efficient. And then we also offer some kids bags as well. We've been seeing some kiddos coming for showers, and so I try to make that a little better for them. That's kind of scary, going to a place they don't know, and it's in the basement, which that's not ideal, but it's the only place we have. So I try to do some little special toothpaste and toothbrushes and stuff for them. But I'm very frugal. I try to spend our money very wisely. I was all ready to tell you all kinds of stuff, but then I get up here and I'm like, I just want to tell you everything, so. So does anybody have any questions? Because pretty much we're still doing the same thing and just trying to do it more efficiently and because we just continually grow.
I got one, Mr. Chair. Just looking down your budget for 24-25, I noticed that the increase for Carter County, but no increase for the city. What was the reason for that?
For their new budget, I actually asked them for $20,000. I haven't talked to them yet, but I did ask them for $20,000. I think my bookkeeper was probably just not aware that I did that. Because he actually told me to ask for more. He said, and we had, somebody was asking him questions for me and he sent back word, ask for more this time. So I said, okay, I will. Yeah, so they don't require me to come and talk every year like you all do. So I just send in paperwork, then they let me know. So it's kind of different. The one thing I will say is that United Way did not get allotted as much money this year, so we won't be getting near that from them. I did also win I did a pitch over the summer last year and won $5,000 for kids program, and I did kids bags over the summer, so that was the extra $5,000 that was in that. I would say the majority, if you look, the majority of our money comes from fundraisers. My poor volunteers, I wear them out. They begged me not to have any more yard sales about September. So we actually just spent this last weekend 6 hours at Food Line in Johnson City soliciting money. And so we're out all the time. We have another one coming up the 6th at Food City in Bluntville. We're going to be doing a food drive there. So the majority of our stuff comes from our own. We do a car show down at Northeast Credit Union. Snap-on does a motorcycle ride. We do all kinds of things that whoever we get involved, we get them involved. So if you got any ideas, I'll take those too.
Your direct, the grant that you received this year.
There is a grant that we have not seen anything from. It's been a year that we were told we won the grant. It was a year in January. The last time I talked to the people up at the Upper East Tennessee Human Development Agency, they said everything was still in the legal department in Nashville. That will not be for any money. That will be for equipment only. So once that goes through, I'm not sure if the county has to do it or who does it, but because the county was the one that had to apply for it.
Yeah, it should go directly.
Okay, well, it has to be used for the things that we asked for, which was a box truck and a freezer and a cooler. And that we haven't heard anything yet, but the lady at the Upper East Tennessee said that because the county applied for it, she didn't know how it was going to work, so I didn't know either. You had to apply through the county. The county had to be the one to apply for it. It was that kind of grant. It should be, if they give us everything that we asked for, which is what they said they were going to do, it should be about $160,000 worth of equipment, which will be so beneficial to us. That box truck will make a world of difference in those freezers and coolers too.
Yeah, I have First Tennessee Development District report, so ARM and Loaves of Fishes received it. It was $220,207. That was, and I think you all would have gotten. I think ARM was getting $75,000, and you guys.
Well, they said to ask, dream big, and I did. So
Yeah. I had asked the development district to send out and bring all the nonprofits in, and I think everybody could choose to apply or not. We had several come, and only ARM and Loaves of Fishes had chose to apply, and they were awarded the full amount. Just for applying.
I'm so excited about. I just can't wait to get it.
And it's for equipment, so it's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've been wanting a box truck for so long. That would make things so.
Yeah, it was on the
different.
list. That was what you were getting.
Yeah, I even asked for a refrigerated one too. So we are building on or closing our pavilion, that'll be perfect because we raised it up. So we're now, instead of unloading 40,000 pounds worth of food, like in the morning, that's what we'll do by hand, unload all the pallets by hand because we have no way to get it in the building unless it's on a pallet. So now that we're closing that, we'll have a garage door that they can back the trucks up to and get it all in. So that will make life so much easier too for us. Is my volunteers, they work for free, and a lot of them have full-time jobs and still work there every night, so.
Other questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. You all have a good night.
Up next is Boys and Girls Club of Elizabeth and Carter County. Set that one aside. Next is Carter Compassion Center. Brandon.
Guys. Thank you so very much for having me. I'm Brandon Young, and I'm the board president of the Carter Compassion Center. And truly, if it wasn't for you all, there wouldn't be a Carter Compassion Center, because in 2019, when you all created the committee to research poverty and homelessness, and you made me the chairman of that board, that evolved into the Carter Compassion Center. So really, we thank you that we're even there. I've given you, there's a statement of revenue from 2023 there in front of you of what we have received in 2023. City of Elizabethton did give us $2,500 this year. We had 2 grants, one from the TVA, one from the Elizabethton Electric. They're listed there: church donations, organizational donations, and then personal. And you see the total income there. We have 2 part-time director and an assistant director, and my church, where I pastor, funds the director position. So they fund that from my church. So they're actually funding that. So we wouldn't have to take that out of our budget. All the expenses are there. There's also a proposed budget for this year. What we're lacking, obviously, we're only open 10 hours a week. That's all we can be open. We don't have the money to pay anybody any more than what we're paying them. They're seeing in a day's time, in that span of time that they're open, 6 to 10 clients come in a day. So we're seeing folks come in and they're getting the assistance. So I don't want to tell you what you don't, or what you already know about the Compassion Center. I don't want to do that. But if you have any questions about what we're doing, I would be glad to answer those. But we know that people have given fishes for a long time, and we're trying to teach people how to fish. And so there's strings attached to what we're doing. They have to come in, meet with a social worker. A plan of action is mapped out. They get a mentor to mentor them that is volunteer, to try to help them understand what they've got to do. We coordinate with other resources in our county. We have a phenomenal director, Mickey Fletcher. She works for Carter County Schools. That's her main job. And then she comes and works part-time for the Carter Compassion Center. But she does a wonderful job reaching out into other places. And then when we can't find things with other places, then we take care of them ourselves. But we're not handing money to the individuals. We take care of the need. We prevent them from losing their electricity, being evicted from their house or their apartment. That's what we do. But most of it's all educational. We want to educate them and mentor them. In the church world, we call that discipleship. We want to disciple. You don't have somebody come in and come to know Christ, and then you just kind of turn them loose, but we disciple them. And what we've realized, this curse that we have, this multi-generational poverty curse, they have no one to go back to figure out what to do or how to do it. And so we want to be that advocate for them, to show them this is how you get out of poverty. Now, we know that doesn't work for everybody. Some people want to stay in poverty. They want to stay professional beggars. We get that. But there's a lot that do not want to stay in poverty, but they don't know how to get out of it. And I think education is the key. Now, what we're looking at doing in the future and we've only asked for $5,000. We would like to create a course that these people need success. Some of them have never graduated high school. They've never had anything framed on the wall, but we'd like to create courses that they would go through. And when they finish it, we would have a ceremony and a celebration. We'd have cake, and we would have their families come over, and we would make a big deal that you made it through the Carter Compassion Center courses on poverty and budgeting and financial literacy. And so that's our goal, is to really watch people become successful and get out of the poverty in which they're in. So that's the Carter Compassion Center in a nutshell. We work on a very strict budget. You can see that already. When we first received the building, we get it for $1 a year from the city of Elizabeth, and then we're so thankful that they gave us the building. But it was in dire need of repair. I mean, we had plants going up through the AC floor ducts. So, I mean, we had some major roof leaks. We took care of all of those issues, and we've used people that would volunteer their time. We've had young people come in and work through Lifeway that painted the place. And if you've noticed, we put a new sign up last week, and I have a friend that owns a sign company in North Carolina. And every time I get a price here is $7,000, $8,000, he come and put that sign up for $2,500, I think is what it was. $2,200. So he did that really out of the goodness of his heart, and really donated a lot of it because he said, I believe in what you are doing in Elizabeth and in Carter County. So we work hard to help these individuals get out of poverty. We know we've got a homelessness problem. We've got a poverty problem. We know that. But we got to do something to get out of it. And just giving people stuff hasn't worked. It hasn't worked all these years. And so, and this isn't going to work for everybody. And we are fully aware of that, guys. But goodness, you can't save every starfish on the beach, but you can throw some back. And we have seen that success. I could stand here and tell you story after story of families that said, you know what, now we're budgeting for the first time. Now we're not asking for somebody to pay our light bill every month. This is working, and we didn't know how to do it, but now we do because of the Compassion Center. So, but I'm really grateful for your time, and maybe be glad to answer any questions about the budget or what we're doing or.
Question for Brandon?
I just have one. How many successes do you have per year on average?
Well, we've had, Nikki told Ms. Karen, which is our secretary, we've had about 150 clients this year. Now that 150, if you really want me to be truthful, of how many out of that 150 if we really feel like have changed their way of living, about half of them. I mean, about half. The other half, you may never see them again. When we sit down with a contract and we say, this is what we're willing to do. Are you willing to do this? And they say, no, I just want you to pay my bill. We're not here for that. And they can walk right out the door. So we're not there just to pay a bill and go on. And we let them know that from the very get-go. And our director is very, very good at that. She said, we're here to be an advocate for you, stand with you, help you, talk with other people that you need us to talk with, show you where to go. But we're not just here to give you a handout. So it works for about half, which to me is good. If we can get half of what we're doing in Carter County fixed, we're going to be a whole lot better off than we are right now. So, any other questions?
I don't have a question. I just want to make a statement that Brandon wears a lot of hats in the community, a lot of leadership hats. And I just want to say thank you.
Well,
It was
I
amazing.
appreciate you guys. I just love people. I love Jesus, number one. I love people. I love our kids, and I love Carter County. I believe Carter County is one of the greatest places to live, and I'm originally from Spruce Pine, North Carolina. And I pastored Harmony for 17 years, and I've lived here 15 and worked with Carter County Schools now for about 15 years now. So I started as a teacher, a school counselor, and now an administrator. But I know we've got problems with poverty because I work at Valley Forge every day and I drive a school bus. And I'm on those back roads and I watch where these kids come out of. And their families are the ones that's down at the Compassion Center. So, I see it, but I love them, and I mean that, and just want to make a difference. But if you'd be willing to give $5,000, we'd be thrilled. It's not a lot of money, but goodness, it's a lot to us when we work on such a limited budget to start with. So, thank you all.
Thanks, Brandon. East Tennessee Spay and Neuter. Vink is here to represent them, Secretary True.
John Kabinka. I'm the treasurer for East Tennessee Spay and Neuter. For those who aren't real familiar with ETSN, we have two primary components. We run a low-cost wellness veterinary clinic through an RV that we park in 4 different spots around the county every month. The other operation we have is we help facilitate spay and neuter of dogs and cats through the Margaret B. Mitchell Spay and Neuter Clinic in Bristol, Virginia. ETSN is an all-volunteer operation. Even our veterinarian is a volunteer. And we have about 20 volunteers in total as part of the operation. As in past years, we're asking for $2,500 for our spay and neuter operation. Do want to highlight that none of this funds we're requesting would be used to support our operational needs. As in previous years, this funding would be used to discount spay and neuter expenses to low-cost or low-income Carter County residents. And low income is a household of $30,000 or less. Okay? So we're currently providing a $40 discount. The normal fee for a dog to be spayed or neutered is $85, so we discount that to $45. For a male cat, it's $65, we discount that to $25, which for a low-income family, it's a significant reduction in cost. Not to mention what they would have to pay if they went to a full-service vet clinic. We pay the full cost of the vets, to the spay-neuter clinic. We pull these funds in out of a separate GL account to offset the cost that it's, discount. In receiving these funds, we do receive a guaranteed match from Two Mods Inc., which is a national spay and neuter organization. In 2023, we provided discounts for 173 low-income Carter County residents.
How many?
173, which helps the shelter a lot if they weren't already full. The big question is, what's the impact if we don't get funds from Carter County? As stated, these funds are not used in our operational needs. It's strictly to provide these discounts. If we don't have the funds for the discounts, we just end that program. But again, for low-income families in the county, it's a tremendous benefit. Even at $25 to do your male cat, it's kind of a stretch for some of these people. So that's our request. Any questions?
Any questions for John?
So none of these funds that you're requesting goes toward your operation and expense, the building that y'all were trying to do?
Not at all. So when we get these funds, we put it in a separate GL account. And then when we pay the spay neuter facility, we pay them the full cost, and I'll transfer that $40 out of that GL account into our operational budgets. We do not use any of this actually for our operational needs.
Other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all's time.
Let the shepherds in. Paul Gavinet's here, and let them do that, and we'll take a quick break, even though Julie's already taken it.
Good evening, and thank you so much for the gift from last year. Let me say that right off. As we have had over the years, you have given us $12,000, and that goes as a designated gift directly for the payment on our annual mortgage for the house for the Shepherd's Inn, which is Elizabeth and Carter County's only emergency shelter for women and children coming out of a domestic violence situation and need emergency housing. Federally protected property. We do not disclose the location of the property, but it's very close. Let's put it that way. Doing it for 27 years. I'm not getting any younger. So I had hair when we started. So anyway, I so appreciate again this year we're asking for the same amount. We're asking for the $12,000 that will enable us to continue to pay our mortgage at Carter County Bank. And again, that money is designated. We have probably $200 left over when we pay the mortgage in October. And I hold my breath until I know that that's going to happen, because it's always a struggle to come up with that $1,000 a month nearly. And we appreciate again for that. For those of you who may not be aware that Shepherd's Inn, not only have we operated for these many years, but the results have been pretty impressive overall. When we started the shelter, I believe it was an average of every 70 months. This came from one of the officers in our court. And what they told us was there was a death within the city limits within every 70 months. That was a direct result of violence. And when people come to us, they are at the lowest point in their lives. Oftentimes they come with only the clothes on their backs. And when the sheriff or the police departments bring them to us, we're there 24/7 and take them in. It is not an easy task for them. And fortunately, if you look at our budget, you can see we don't spend a lot of money. And the reason is we use a lot of our resources in our community, whether it be the 4-H from the extension office that we use to help us in fundraising. Those 4-H kids all participate in our groups there. Or if it's even our good work with ARM that helps us with our women, because they have a bigger closet than we can have in our shelter. But like I said, every 70 months there was a death in Elizabethton city limits. Right now, I can tell you that as far as I know, if you all remember the murder-suicide that happened at the McDonald's some years ago, that's the only one that's happened within the city limits as a result of domestic, which we would label as domestic violence. So I could be wrong on that, but that's as far as I know right now. Your shelter has done a good job in maintaining and helping those who have nowhere to turn and no one to whom they can turn. You provide the house for us. And I can't thank you enough for that. Some of you may remember several years ago, it's a decade now, we got in trouble because we were a few months behind on our mortgage and we were threatened. By threatened, I mean the operation of the shelter was threatened. And people came to our rescue within 48 hours and we took care of that. And I came to you and I said, I need your help. Carter County gives, and so too does Elizabethton City. Elizabethton City gives us $12,000. And again, that's what I asked from you one more time before, not one more time, all the time until we get this paid off. We've got about 76,000 more to go, so we're moving on. So ultimately, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. If you have any questions, I'm glad to answer those. And I will tell you, we also take in temporarily homeless women and children as well. If somebody gets evicted from apartments, or if there's a fight and they don't have any place to go, we try to take care of those in Elizabeth and Carter County as well. So that's some updated information on your shelter. You need a new roof, and I'm not asking for that. We're trying to get work on that.
Any questions for Paul?
No, but I'd like to make a statement, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
For the panel and even for the full committee. The vast majority of them don't understand that that's a safe haven. I mean, when our officers go out on domestic violence now is every night. That's how often I call it. I don't know the exact number, but coming out of a patrol car myself, I know that it's a breath of fresh air. You go in on a domestic violence and you find abuse of a child and a mother. There's a place where I, as an officer, which is responsible for the county and the county responsibility, that we can take and know that they're being cared for. And there's a safety net around them where they do not have to face that out in the front yard. For some time, we had to transport some to Johnson City. It used to be located on the VA grounds. And That's where I'm retired from, and I didn't even know it's there. That's how well protected it is. But I know they had one incident where a person actually got lost and just went up and knocked on the door, but he won't come back and knock on that door no more. I mean, he'll run away from it. But it's a money saving thing for law enforcement, because we would have to provide a safe haven for the victims in domestic violence. So that means it's saving from our budget. And a great job.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's been a joy.
Any other comments or questions? Sir,
Thank you all very much.
I think,
let's,
I think so.
okay. 2 minutes, I'll do the last two.
Do I get another 10?
I guess so.
You have to take,
I'm even close to you, so you get a little.
you have to take
I'll
20.
first these again.
You have to take 20 because you lived early.
I know I did.
You can't go out and play a little bit.
No,
Just sat in the corner of a dunce hat before going to recess before we.
I'm just gonna sneeze on
Hey,
you.
what do you mean? You are.
In the hat, I'll get a straight.
Made them.
That's what's building.
I'm gonna sit here.
It's just down there. They said they just got in the plumbing with the,
How much rest?
finished the building. It's just, this is.
Just a minute.
You know, I asked